we go. Here we go. Here we go. It looks like we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Heat Check, the live beat review show right here on YouTube. I'd like to give a special shout out to all the producers who have submitted their beats on the Heat Check live beat review show here this Friday. I'm so glad to have you guys, man. I sincerely appreciate it. When I started this show, I didn't know how people would receive it, if it'll go well, you know, what will pop up and get in the way. But the fact that you guys show up so consistently inspires me to show up consistently for you guys as well. Ran home here straight from the gym, got ready and everything. And I just wanted to make sure I was here for you guys. So I'll make sure I show up. So if you don't know, if this is your first time checking out the Heat Check, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Desmond A. I am a music producer out here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Excuse me. I've been producing music for over 12 years now. Got placements on different television networks like E-Television, Bravo, Sci-Fi Channel, different documentaries and other shows that I can't remember. And also, of course, the very talented independent music artists out here in Atlanta. I've produced a couple singles, some independent artists, and that is just as rewarding, at least to me, as working with the big quote unquote major artists. You know, you get so much satisfaction from working with indie artists. You know, the big artists. It could be other stuff going on. So very grateful. Now, I wanted to give a special shout out to the chat. So thank you to the chat, everyone who is going to show up here for the show. And if this is your first time here, let me go ahead and let you know the format of the Heat Check. So you go ahead and submit your beats after the live stream on Fridays. And the live stream starts at Fridays at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And as soon as the show ends, 5 minutes later, the form opens for you to submit for next Friday's show. So that's the free submissions. They're closed right now. And if you want to skip the line because you missed a free submission slot, you can, of course, go to DesmondASounds.com/VIP to purchase a VIP skip the line so you can get right in front of everyone, get your review, and then go on your merry way. And also here at the Heat Check, I want to lay out some ground rules, you know, just set the scene for you guys. So here at the Heat Check, we don't snap, we don't roast, we don't play the dozens, we don't do any of that stuff. You know, if you want to, you know, kiki and get your giggles off, that's for different places. I know everybody wants to be entertained, but we want to be entertained by the music. We want to be entertained by supporting your fellow producers. So that's how we're going to do it here. We're going to give it to you straight. We'll give you the review straight, but it's like a dojo. You know, does your sensei say that was a weak punch, or LOL? You know, your right hook was terrible. No, they're gonna say, you know, twist your hips when you throw your right hook. You know, put your weight behind your punch whenever you're throwing a jab. You know, that's the kind of advice we give here on the Heat Check. So if you rock with that, make sure you stay tuned, rock with the team, rock with the family, and we'll be here to give you real actionable advice to help you on your music production journey. Also, I play about 1.5 minutes of each beat just so we get a feel of everything. So if you see me stopping your beat around 1.5 minutes, it's not personal. That's just how we go with the time limitation. But if you purchase a VIP skip the line, we'll play your entire beat. So that's how we're going to go ahead and rock out here on the Heat Check. All right, what's going on? We got Millie in the building. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Millie. I am doing great. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you are doing well too. And as a matter of fact, that is it for all the introductions and all the housekeeping. Let's go ahead and jump right into FL Studio here. All right. So, looks like we don't have too many submissions this time around, which I figured it's the holidays. Sometimes the show can go almost past 3 hours, but the holidays are here, so I expected this. And as a matter of fact, we may be taking a bit of a break in December for all the holiday festivities, then return in 2026. But I'll be sure to update you guys so you're not caught off guard, so you'll know to go ahead and get your beats in. So that's how we're going to do that. All right, enough of me yapping. Let's go ahead and jump right into our first submission. So, first submission of the night, we have Flawless Sounds with Coke on the Glass. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Flawless sounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Flawless Sounds with Coke on the Glass. Shout out to you, Flawless Sounds, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Flawless Sounds, you know, I was definitely getting Odd Future vibes. I felt like I was back in 2000 something when I first saw that Tyler the Creator, Odd Future crew come through with their whole wave of music and their aesthetic and everything like that. So that's the kind of vibe I was getting. For me, I felt like this beat is definitely giving underground indie artist vibes. There's going to be a certain type of artist who really likes this beat and who's really going to connect with it. One thing I'm only curious on if this beat is going to be more so geared towards a freestyle format, because I'm not really hearing how like a hook or anything could be on something like that, and that's fine. So one thing you may want to do is possibly put in parentheses Coke in the Glass freestyle, so you can influence the artist to make a song based on the title. Coke on the Glass, they could do double entendre. Coke on the Glass, like, you know, the Booger Sugar, or Coke on the Glass, like the drink, Coca-Cola. And then that can cause the artist to do this real cool wordplay where the whole time they're flipping and doing double entendres and triple entendres. So that's just a little tip there. I've had a couple of artists name their songs after my beat name, and I think that's a good way to kind of push people in that direction. As far as constructive criticism on the beat itself, the only thing is I'm feeling I want more beef, more power, just like another layer of drum underneath that kick and underneath that, possibly underneath the snare, but mostly under that kick. I just want more, just like a thicker body to that kick. It's real punchy, which is fine, but I just want more. I want more, just like an extra thickness to it. So when I crank it up, I'm like really getting my head nod going, because it's hitting those frequencies that's just influencing me to really get into the music. But yeah, shout out to you, Flawless Sounds. Good beat. Hope you enjoyed that feedback. And it looks like you have another beat here. So, moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, we have Flawless Sounds with Haunting Hour. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Flawless sounds.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, that was Flawless Sounds with Haunting Hours. So shout out to you, Flawless Sounds. Thank you so much for submitting that beat. Now, Flawless Sounds, with that beat, the first thing I noticed was that bass. There's something that was going on with the bass that you chose. Sometimes I hear this real kind of strange modulation in bass where it's like, instead of a smooth, it's like a. And I was hearing a little bit of that in the bass. So I'm thinking you may want to either swap out that bass sample that you use in that beat or whatever VST patch that you use in that beat and try to get a bass that's a bit smoother. Or the other thing that could be going on is that bass was just a bit too low and that caused that strange modulation. So you might have to pitch it up an octave. So just experiment with that. That's gonna point you in the right direction. Other than that, I was still getting that, kind of underground hip hop. I felt a sprinkle of Dungeon Family in that one. Kind of felt got a little Dungeon Family vibes from that one, just a little bit. But yeah, that's another kind of no real structure. That could also be a freestyle beat. I prefer the first beat. I think that first beat will be more sellable, more accessible to a recording artist, especially put freestyle in parentheses for the title of the beat. This beat, I think you would more than likely need to be in the studio with the recording artist to really get them to engage in the beat and to be able to really write a song to it, especially since it doesn't really have a structure. It's just, kind of just keeps going and going. But you may want to also just try, this is a piece of advice I give, and pretty much every show is listen to producers who you put above you, who you want to get to that point of production, and just listen to how their bass sounds, how they're structuring their beat, how they're doing like drops and adding like sweeps and reverse crashes and filtering certain parts of the sample just so things kind of breaks up the repetitiveness that can happen at times. So always pick little gems from the greats and then put it into your back pocket and then you'll be able to create your own style based on, some of the things that they've done in the past. So those are just a couple of gems there. So thank you so much for submitting this week, Flawless Sounds. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. Yes, Millie, yep. That definitely did have a Griselda vibe to it as well. Definitely. All right. Moving forward, we have JVN World with Up. All right. Shout out to JVN World. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was JVN World with Up. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, JVN World, for that beat, it had a good bounce, had a good bounce, good vibe to it. The only thing is the instrumentation felt kind of basic. It didn't really take me anywhere. So what we want to do is we want to capture the essence of what you're trying to do and just develop it more. Like, how can we achieve that same kind of spacey vibe with that synth kind of dancing on top of it with just more development, more sophistication to it. Of course, basic beats are fine, but there just needs to be development in the instrumentation. So, in this case, I'm going to give the same advice that I gave previously to the other producer, is listen to the instrumentation of the type of beat that you're trying to get to in this vein. For instance, when I started doing, some Afrobeat instrumentals, first I collabed with a bigger producer at the time, and then I started to learn different things about how they put instrumentation together and how they mix their drums a bit differently. The background percussion is really pushed up a bit more, and it has more transient and it snaps harder. And in that process, I just learned the nuance of what's needed to make a good Afro beat. So in your case, you can, of course, find other producers on BeatStars, Instagram, who have a style that you're trying to get to, and you two work together, and you just start picking little tips, picking little things that they do, put it in your pocket to help you develop your instrumentation. But other than that, man, nice bounce. I like the subbiness of the 808 because, a lot of times producers are crushing their 808s with distortion. So shout out to you for having the sub bass in there. But overall, we just want more development in the instrumentation, at least for this beat. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check, and I'll be glad to assist you in your music production journey. Moving forward, we have Millie Beats. We also have Millie Beats in the chat right here as well. So shout out to you, Millie Beats. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with GTA. So shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, for that beat, Millie Beats, good vibe, good bounce, good energy. I could definitely see myself. I'm not a rapper, but I could rap along to the beat. Didn't take up too much space. Not the sounds lived in different parts of the stereo field that I can still do my things. Things weren't piling on top of each other. Now, you know, the only thing I wish I could do is almost like I wish, and I understand that you're on FL Studio Mobile. It's like I wish I could take your beat and then just drag and drop in like different sounds, just more polished sounds to just give it that nice, tight, you know, finished feel. You know, this beat feels like I just want new sounds on top of it, like the drum sounds. I just want a more polished clap, a more polished kick, you know. Even some of the sounds, some of the instrumentation, I just wish I could just drag and drop it in, some different sounds in. Once again, I do understand you're working on FL Studio Mobile, so continue to cook up so you can do that. So once you do get a laptop, you can just get those different sounds, drag it in, drop it, and be like, okay, now this beat has been polished. It's at a different level. Everything sounds tighter, and you know it's more likely somebody's gonna want to do something to it. So keep cooking up, Millie Beats. Good beat. I just wish we could change the sound selection specifically of the drums on that one. But yes, definitely continue to cook up. Don't stop. Don't stop. I've sold beats from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I have artists looking at beats that I made like, in what year did I make that beat? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, from 6 years ago. Wow. So yeah, I got it. So that goes to show you that you keep this beat, you know, maybe get your laptop next year, drag and drop the sounds, just upload it onto your beat player or just upload it onto YouTube, and just put your email address. And then before you know it, do like me. 6 years later, somebody's like, oh, I want that beat. You're like, I forgot I made that beat. I'm onto something else, you know? So It just goes to show you especially with this style of music, this is it's a classic sound. So people who like this type of beat are always gonna like it. It's like boom bap. Boom bap is always gonna be a niche for somebody who wants some good quality boom bap beats. So stay inspired. Don't quit, because you could be like me and have artists looking at beats from 6 years ago. So always cook up. So continue to do that. Moving forward, second submission of the night by Millie Beats. This one's called Street Dreams. I'm going to go ahead and play this, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Miller, you made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Street Dreams. Shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you for submitting that right here on the Heat Check. For that beat, once again, I am getting, first thing I thought of is I want to swap out the sounds for better sounds, more polished sounds, drums and instruments in that case. Also kind of, I'm not hearing it too much, but there's something that you can do with panning. So with panning, you can create a lot of space for the artist. So if you have, if you have like a bell sound going right here, that's kind of hard panned. You can also have another sound right here, kind of creating this little bit of a game with the ear. So everything doesn't have to be, tight in on each other. Kind of find some sounds that you can kind of pan out the way, so in the middle the voice can really live. And a great way to do that is to listen to the West Coast beats that you like, those artists that you like. Listen critically. I mean, if you have to close your eyes and listen to how the engineer is panning certain sounds out the way, you're gonna learn a lot just by doing that, man. Just listening, and I'm listening for the panning. I'm listening for the space, and once again, that's going to help you out. Also, I just wanted that clap to be just crispier. I just wanted that clap to just have more bite, just more top end, just so it kind of cuts through and just really gets me in my West Coast vibe. So if you can do that, that'll definitely help that beat out. Also, you had these little stomp kicks going on, like poof, poof. Those stomp kicks, I felt like you didn't have to let it ride out so much. It was a little distracting. You could just have it like dun, 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 poof, dun, dun, dun. So you can have it just kind of hit a little bit, and then you don't have to like keep having it go. So it just works as ear candy to kind of work on the vibe and work on the bounce. So yes, you can definitely do that. And yeah, other than that, man, just keep grinding. Make sure you back up your files, put them on Dropbox, put them in Google Drive, So once again, once you get to FL Studio desktop, laptop version, you can just do your dragging and dropping and then listen to your sounds just bloom into something more polished. So yes. Yep, absolutely, Millie. So yeah, you're welcome, Millie. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. And please continue to keep cooking up fire and submitting it right here on the show. Moving forward, we have Dancing Maine. Dancing Maine, a staple of the Heat Check show. Still surprised Dancing Maine hasn't shown up in the live stream. He's probably watching. He's probably lurking somewhere. He also is probably, I don't know. I'm surprised that I haven't seen Dancing Maine in any of the comments. But shout out to you, Dancing Maine. I know you are a real person. So we have Dancing Maine with his titles, Shooting Heroin with God. So he did not disappoint with his beat title this time. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Maine with Shooting Heroin with God. Shout out to you, Dancing Maine, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Dancing Maine, I'm going to give you a shout out. I hear that you didn't add that distortion to your bass. Thank you. As you can hear, it's much smoother. It's much more full. And if I play that beat right here on my Atom speakers, it's going to shake the woofer. There's a time and a place for that distortion that a lot of you producers like, but it doesn't always have to be used. So thank you so much for dialing that back. Now, the beat itself, I was struggling to figure out what type of artist would get on that beat. Of course, the production was, our classic Dancing Maine style of production. But as far as artists jumping on it, I'm like, who would get on it? What type of artist would get on it? Because the intro felt kind of R&B, but then you had these haunting chords on top of it. So it kind of felt like it was getting kind of spooky at times. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of a spooky vibe. And then we got into the beat itself. And I was kind of struggling to figure out what type of song would be made to something like this. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend sending this beat out to an artist that you don't know. I would more so send this to an artist that you do know, that this would fit their style. Or if you can get in the studio with an artist and walk them through and coach them through a song, that would help in this instance, because if you send this to an artist, I'm not quite sure they'll know what direction to take it. But once again, a lot of times artists pick the beats that we don't think they'll pick. So you can kind of add this in as like a wild card beat. You know, you have your other standard classic Dancing Main beats, and if you're like, maybe I'll just throw this one in as a just in case, then you could possibly do that. But I wouldn't really add this as the, you know, the top of the pile of beats just because I'm not sure what direction to even go in with that type of beat. But shout out to you, Dancing Main. Thank you so much for submitting that. Then we have another submission today right here by Dancing Main. It says, "The devil always has a price." Oh, all right. So let's go ahead and listen to this. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Main with "The Devil Always Has a Price." All right. Shout out to you, Dancing Main. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Dancing Main got an R&B bag, man. With the style of music that you make, Dancing Main, I just thought we was going to get, you know, more darker, more ethereal, more spaced out. I didn't know you was going to reel it back in and just create R&B vibes. Pleasant surprise, man. Yeah, so with that beat, I was definitely took off my headphone to make sure I could create melodies to that beat. But yeah, definitely can. Dancing Main, if you are in contact with some songwriters, definitely reach out to them, especially with your R&B tracks. They should definitely be able to create something to a beat like that. So get that out there. One piece of feedback for that beat, just constructive criticism. The bass is a little bit overwhelming, so let's dial it back a bit. Let's just start with like negative 0.4, and that should keep us in a good spot. Let's do negative 0.4. We should be good, and then go ahead and export it out again and get it over to a songwriter. So thank you so much for submitting, Dancing Main. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. Moving forward, we have M Hoodie with Luna Pena. All right. Shout out to you, M Hoodie. Let's go ahead and get this a bit up. Not sure why it's doing that. Oh. Let's get this a little bit louder. All right. There you go. All right. M Hoodie with Luna Pena. Gonna go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
It's Moody. Driving.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was M. Hootie with Luna Pena. Thank you so much for submitting M. Hootie right here on the Heat Check. Now, so I always call this the discovery phase in music production. That's when you're just playing with stuff, you're finding stuff, you're just figuring out how to even put together a drum pattern, how to select sounds and just put them into the beat. So this is a phase where you're doing stuff. You know, you're trying to figure out what sounds good. You know, I remember there was a Producer Grind interview with a very famous songwriter. I forget the songwriter's name at the moment, but he spoke about how he was in the discovery phase of beat making before he switched to songwriting. And, you know, how people roasted him for it, but he didn't know how to pick a good snare. He didn't know how to pick a good kick. You know, he was a very talented songwriter, but when it came to making beats, he didn't know how to pick any of these things. And once again, I call that the discovery phase. So people had to show him, okay, this is a good snare to add to this beat. This is a good kick. And you just have to work through this phase. So my advice would be to keep having fun, keep playing around in your DAW, and then eventually, as you keep having fun, you're gonna get your track on a rail, and then you're gonna start the journey to refining and creating your sound and knowing how to make a solid beat. As far as specific constructive criticism, the drum pattern was a bit was strange, had a weird swing to it. Yeah, and also the sound selection, the kick didn't have any punch to it. You really needed to select a different kick with some type of punch and power behind it. Also the arrangement, there were times where you just kind of added random, like a bass drone, like a boom, boom. You know, that was kind of random. So we need to work on arrangement as well. I think I already mentioned sound selection. But once again, keep having fun. One thing that you may want to do is straight up drag and drop a beat that you like into your DAW and just try your best to copy it. Try your best to go through your sounds and find a kick that matches that producer's kick. Find a snare that matches that producer's snare. And then just the easiest thing to do would be to try to copy the drum pattern. Okay, why does it sound so good? Why does it feel so good? And then you can start to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be by doing things like that, remaking beats. That's one thing I definitely wish I did more of in the beginning. I was too proud to do something like that. And it just caused me to take longer to learn certain things, which... why would you want to do that? You know, tomorrow isn't promised. Why waste time with your ego in the way? That's why I always say, stand on business, don't stand on ego. So don't let your ego get in the way of helping you learn much quicker. But yeah, other than that, I'll definitely say try that. That's going to help you out a lot. It's going to help you discover things. It's going to be frustrating. You're going to wonder why you can't copy things that seem simple that bigger producer is doing, but be patient with yourself. It's like learning a new language. You have to learn, hello, my name is, where are you from? And then eventually, you know, you get better and better at it. So be patient with yourself and continue to cook up beats. So shout out to you, M. Hootie. Moving forward, another submission right here tonight from M. Hootie. This one is called Perso. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and do that.
It's Moody. Try me.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was M. Hootie's second submission of the night with Perso. So shout out to you, M. Hootie. Now, M. Hootie, my same advice holds true for this beat as well. That one had a bit more of a cohesiveness to it than the other beat, but it was still very much in the discovery phase, still figuring out things, still figuring out how to put sounds together. And it's essentially like cooking a food, making a meal, and we want to make a smoky dish. Let's just say some pasta. No, that's not a good example. Let's just say a steak. Then we're adding garlic powder. We're adding pepper. We're adding, onion powder. We're adding these things that fit. And then if someone just randomly adds sugar and randomly adds parsley, then it could just be a bit like, okay, whoever's doing this is trying to figure out how to put something like this together. And that's why what they're doing, they're adding things that don't quite fit. And the way that they're going to get better at cooking their steak is by practice. And by, of course, guidance and mentorship like we're doing right here now. So continue to cook up beats. That beat itself, once again, we need a better sound selection. There really wasn't too much of a structure to the beat itself as far as the intro, the hook, outro, things of that nature. You may have done that intentionally, but yeah, we just need to work. Just keep working, keep cooking up beats, and then you're gonna figure out how to just pick higher quality sounds. So just keep at it. Keep at it, M. Hootie. You have a bright future ahead of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, looks like that was our last submission of the night. You guys are out on holidays. You guys are turning up. You guys are eating turkey and whatnot. Hopefully it's vegan turkey. If you guys are vegan out there, eat vegan turkey. Cheaper guys probably are not. But yeah, guys, once again, we may take a hiatus in December for the holidays, but I will let you know next Friday will probably be our last heat check for a couple weeks. But once again, I'll keep you informed so you're not caught off guard. Also, make sure you guys go to www.desmondasounds.com to get your FL Studio Patcher plugins, sounds, free guides, everything that you need to level up in your music production journey. So that's it, man. This was a nice, quick, and easy show. Not a super long show like we've had in a couple of our episodes last month, I believe. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I got a bunch of great stuff coming down the pipeline for you guys. So I'll see you soon. Y'all be safe, and I'll see y'all next Friday.